Hi, I'm Don. Welcome to my channel. I'm an affiliate painter for Redgrassgames and also the head mecha and sci-fi painter for Vallejocolors. I write painting articles for Fine Scale Modular magazine. I also write articles for Fantasy Figures International magazine. Lastly, if you're into Gunpla, do use my discount code for usagundamstore.com. Links down below. Today we sketch with India ink and also I'll show you the painting of the Vampire Lord. Primed with Vallejo Surface Primer Black because I ran out of Mecha Black Primer. And I have a lot of videos showing how to prime with Vallejo primers. We start with Phantom Gray, my fav color I think in the Mecha range. It's a dark gray bluish color. It thins around 3 parts paint and 1 part thinning sauce. I'm painting mostly on the sides and on the top areas of the model. It creates like a very natural lighting effect. Not much airbrush skill to do this. It's just a matter of painting thin coats in a certain like direction, which is topmost and a bit on the sides. You can paint with any dark gray color, but I prefer my Phantom Gray since I want a cool gray for the vampires. Now we paint Gray Z or any medium gray color. I prefer my mecha because I'm so used to using them with the airbrush. We're painting mostly on the top areas and focus especially on the skin because the whitest part of this model will be the skin part. And the whole model is basically skin. Most mecha colors I thin 3 parts paint to around 5 parts paint to 1 part thinning sauce. Then I paint them like in 3 thin coats. Now we experiment with India ink. I read somewhere that some people prefer painting white ink instead of white acrylic paint since they are less chalky, and I think they are less chalky and they're very smooth. So I'm not thinning them anymore, just added a few drops of flow improver just to be safe to prevent tip drying. Mix well and then test spray. I test spray on my wrist because I love feeling the pressure of the airbrush, but you could test spray on paper of course. And then we're painting mostly on the top areas, maybe around a bit on the sides but mostly on the top areas. And then apply in around 2 to 3 thin coats and let it dry. The India ink felt smooth, to be honest. I would say it's a bit better than using my Mecha colors or Vallejo Premium White, but there's a caveat in using this India ink and I'll tell you in a while. But anyways, you could like detail paint with it. I'm using a 0.4 airbrush and a 20-ish PSI. Since I'm not confident with the durability or adhesion of the India ink, I sealed the models with Mecha matte varnish, thinned 1:1 with my thinning sauce, and let dry in around 15 minutes. It's tip time! The ink gave us nice smooth finish and you don't really have to thin them. I just added a bit of flow improver to prevent tip drying, so it's really good to use. But I highly recommend that you seal it with a good, nice, durable varnish. The inks are very easy to airbrush. They're very smooth. They lay down to the model really nice and flat, but they are not matte finish. So you really have to seal them with matte varnish so that you'll have a nice matte finish. So do I recommend using inks for models? If you have a spare bottle and then you're not using it, you might as well use it. But do not go out of your way to get one because with proper thinning, acrylic white paints will deliver the same results. So since we did Zenithal priming with Vampire Lord, let's continue and paint this smaller Vampire Lord. Well, the main advantage of using Zenithal priming is when you do glaze painting, you add glaze medium over with paints and then or you paint with contrast paints or washes, so that will be awesome because it will like make sure that the shading of black and white will see through the paints. But with our purpose, with the Vampire Lord, basically the advantage is that it's so easy to paint red over white. Definitely, if this were black primer, you'll have to layer, like put layers and layers of darker red before you come up with really bright reds on your model. So you could see here the Devil Red is a fail. It's too dark. It's kind of blending with Cavalry Brown. So I did a few touches of Red Vermilion to make it pop. And then now we painted the rest of the model black because we need it since this Vampire Lord is wearing a black armor. So also now we're painting shifter paints because the client really liked the shifter that I did on the previous vampire model. So it's like combining TMM in a way and a bit of NMM with the black armor in a while. The shifter paint is looking good. I applied it in 3 thin coats and then let dry in between coats, and you have a very shiny shifting paint. Now we paint the black armor. I chose this dark like gray blue color and mix it a bit with black, and then we're sketching around where the highlight should be. We're just building up the colors until we're happy where the highlight should be seen later, and we're kind of like creating transitions from black to the dark blue color. Once happy, you could now paint with steel gray. It's a very blue light gray color. I mix it with the previous dark blue color so that we won't like jump and create too much contrast and have harsh transitions. So after mixing your custom paints, you could now use it to slowly build up the armor or the highlights of the armor to come up with a really nice like transitions in between the highlights. Basically mixing the previous color with the current color you're using and creating different tonal values will give you nice transitions without very long and tedious glazing, which is kind of boring at times. So but mixing your paints and then creating different tonal values will give you nice results. The Wern Red and the Sunset Red are really nice pink colors, but I ended up using pink because those previous two colors were too dark to highlight the dragon on the shield. The pink color was just right for the highlights, but I did add a bit of extreme highlights by mixing pink with white eventually. Now we paint with dark blue pale. This is an awesome color. It's like pale but bluish and dark. But it's the perfect color to build up our black armor. I think our Vampire Lord is looking good, but the shield is still too flat and we need more highlights on the black armor. Now we add extreme highlights or more highlights with pale gray blue. This is a really nice color. It's bluish and very light. It's perfect for like our pre-white highlights. We're just putting around the edges of the armor and making it pop. Now we're using cavalry brown, eventually like orange brown and also leather brown or red leather. We're building up like stippling on the shield because it doesn't have texture and it's too big and plain, so the stippling gave it a nice texture. Now we use a couple of Vallejo tufts just to make the base a little bit more interesting. Now to finish off the project, because the tufts were a bit too light or too green or too plain, so we're adding like a bit of dried blood and fresh blood on the tufts and the model. Dried blood was applied on the shield and then fresh blood was applied on the mace and like the bigger green tuft so that it looks really gory and nice. This fits the vampire look very much. Combining the shifter paints TMM look and the black armor NMM look is not ordinary, but the client loves it. That's the most important thing. Also, I add a bit more scratches on the shield and the armor, the black armor, to give it more interest, and the blood effects are really nice. It's a nice finishing touch. So that's it. We sketched with ink and painted the Vampire Lord. I hope you liked the video. That's it, we're done. I hope you liked the video. Do like, comment, subscribe, and Consider joining the channel so that you'll be part of our Discord community. Saludos! Hi, I'm Don. Welcome to my channel.